Dust has settled on the porch swing, while the mailbox rusts in the morning dew. I found a copper key tied to a string, but the locket turd is lost in the view. The ghosts of the orchard are thin and out, where the apples once heavy broke the bough. There is no one left to explain the doubt of why the pasture feels so hollow now. Those long-handed seasons took the prize, left us with the husks and the hollow ground. I can see the ghost behind your eyes, tracing my maps of a town that burned down. It is not the years that make us strangers, it is the ways that light forgets the shore. Walking through the old days like rangers, searching for a hinge on a missing door. The freight train tells the same tired joke, passing the graveyards where the names fade gray. We spend our currency on tobacco smoke and watch the silver minnows swim away. The ledger is open but the ink is dry, recording the price of a winter coat. We looked for a sign in the heavy sky, while the river swallowed our only boat. The clock in the hallway has lost its beat, the floorboards have forgotten your stride. There is a silence sitting in my seat, with nowhere left for a memory to hide. Those long-handed seasons took the prize, left us with the husks and the hollow ground. I can see the ghost behind your eyes, tracing the maps of a town that burned down. It is not the years that make us strangers, it is the way the light forgets the shore. Walking through the old days like rangers, searching for a hinge on a missing door. Dust settled on the velvet trunk under the stairs. The hinges grown like a man waking from a deep sleep. I found a photograph with the edges curled yellow, to summer afternoon frozen before the world grew cold. The screen door was banging against the wooden frame. The wind smelled of wild mint and upcoming rain. We used to run until our lungs burned like holy fire, trading nickels for dreams and a seat on a wire. Nobody taught us the clocks were hungry little thieves, stealing the shadows from underneath the trees. Your father had a car that rattled like a tin drum. We drove it to the edge of where the highway becomes known. All the golden hours are buried in the backyard clay, where the silence grows thick at the end of the day. We are just ghosts haunted by our own younger skin, looking for the door that won't ever let us back in. The road behind us is longer than the one ahead, chasing the ghosts of every word we never said. Oh, the golden hours are buried in the backyard clay, where the silence grows thick at the end of the day. We are just ghosts haunted by our own younger skin, looking for the door that will never let us back in. The road behind us is longer than the one ahead, chasing the ghosts of every word we never said. Time is a merchant who never gives a fair price. He sells you the wisdom, but he takes away the ice. He gives you the maps after the kingdom is fallen, and keeps you from hearing the voices that are calling. But I can still feel the heat of that August sun, before we learned how to walk and forgot how to run. Put the picture back and let the shadows have their rest. The heart is a bird that always returns to its nest. Even if the branches are broken and the leaves are gone, the memory is a lantern that stays lit until the dawn. I'll sit here a while in the cradle of the past, wondering how the simplest things were meant to last. Oh, golden hours are buried in the backyard crate, where the silence goes thick at the end of the day. We are just ghosts haunted by our own younger skin, looking for the door that won't ever let us back in. The road behind us is longer than the one ahead, chasing the ghosts of every word we never said. Oh, the golden hours are buried in the backyard clay, where the silence goes thick at the end of the day. We are just ghosts haunted by our own younger skin, looking for the door that won't ever let us back in. The road behind us is longer than the one ahead, chasing the ghosts of every word we never said. The dust has settled on the porch swing, while the iron gate remembers every spring. I found a copper coin buried in the dirt, beside the shadow of a faded flannel shirt. The maples grew tall while we looked away, stealing the light from the middle of the day. There is a hollow sound inside the kitchen wall, where we used to measure who was getting tall. Those old days are a train that does not stop. They are the harvest left to wither in the crop, a heavy trunk of keys that fit no current doors, the quiet soul upon the shifting ocean floors. We traded gold for silver and silver for the rain, until the only thing familiar was a stain of a sunset that refused to ever go down in the empty squares of an abandoned town. Those old days are a train that does not stop. They are the harvest left to wither in the crop, a heavy trunk of keys that fit no current doors, the quiet soul upon the shifting open floors. We traded gold for silver and silver for the rain, until the only thing familiar was a stain of a sunset that refused to ever go down in the empty squares of an abandoned town. clock on the mantle has lost its teeth. Forget the roots that are tangled underneath. Nothing is as heavy as a memory you keep in the narrow valley where the hills are steep. We are just letters written on the moving glass, watching the seasons and the strangers pass. The well went dry in the summer of the fire. The wire fence is leaning on the telephone wire. I see your face in the grain of the oak, lost in the chimney in the drifting smoke. We thought the road was a circle we could trace, but the wind has shifted and changed every place. Now the cradle is rocking with nothing inside except the turning of a dark and lonely tide. Those old days are the train that does not stop. They are the harvest left to wither in the crop. The heavy trunk of keys that fit no corridors. The quiet salt upon the shifting ocean floors. We laid it gold for silver and silver for the rain, until the only thing familiar was a stain of the sunset that refused to ever go down in the empty squares of our abandoned town. Those old days are a train that does not stop. They are the harvest left to wither in the crop. A heavy trunk of keys that fit no current doors. A quiet salt upon the shifting oaken floors. We traded gold for silver and silver for the rain, until the only thing familiar was a stain of a sunset that refused to ever go down in the empty squares of an abandoned town. Dust has settled on the porch swing, where the paint used to curl like a wave. I found a copper coin and a rusted ring in the box that the cellar stairs gave. The seasons took the color from the screen door, and the wind has a sharper edge now. I don't walk across the hollow floor without wondering when and how. There was a dog who barked at the shadows of the freight trains cutting through the night. We used to run across the fallow meadows until the moon was the only remaining light. Your father had a voice like a heavy hammer and a heart like a worn out map. He spoke in a slow and steady stammer, with a hunting dog asleep in his lap. The calendar is just a stack of paper, the clock is just a circle on the wall. The morning mist is nothing but a vapor, waiting for the winter leaves to fall. Those old days are a suitcase in the attic, locked away where the spiders weave their lace. The radio is humming with the static of a time and a long forgotten place. You can't buy back the minutes that you squandered. You can't bridge the river where it flows through the labyrinth where our spirits wander before the garden turned into the snows. I saw the merchant down on Main Street, closing up the shop for the final time. He used to give us peppermint to eat when a nickel was a fortune and a dime. Now the highway bypasses the steeple, and the gravel has turned into stone. I see the ghosts of all the honest people walking down the alleys on their own. The calendar is just a stack of paper. The clock is just a circle on the wall. The morning mist is nothing but a vapor, waiting for the winter leaves to fall. Those old days are a suitcase in the attic, locked away where the spiders leave the lace. The radio is humming with the static of a time and a long-forgotten days. You can't buy back the minutes that you squandered. You can't bridge the river where it flows, through the labyrinth where our spirits wander, where all the garden turned into the snow. Suitcase in the attic, locked away where the spiders leave their lane. The radio is humming with the static of a time and a long-forgotten case. You can't buy back the minutes that you squandered. You can't bridge the river where it flows, through the labyrinth where our spirits wander, before the garden turned into the snow. The dust is thick upon the windowsill. The wind is shaking all the apples loose. The highway cuts a scar across the hill, and the morning holds a tight and silver noose. The clock is ticking in the empty hall, just like a hammer hitting on a nail. The shadows stretch and climb the garden wall, while the sunlight turns the kitchen table pale. The photographs are fading in the frame, their faces washed away by pouring rain. Nobody here remembers your old name, they only recognize the weight of pain. The porch is creaking in the autumn cold, the birds are flying south to find the heat. The stories that the grandfathers have told are lying shattered in a frozen street. The rusty gate is swinging to and fro, the gardens turn to weeds and tangled briars. There is nowhere left for any man to go when the winter puts out all the cooking fire. The ghosts of children play among the pines, chasing hoops with sticks of broken pine. The laundry's hanging heavy on the lines, the grapes have withered on the dying vine. The pennies in the jar have turned to green, the letters in the trunk are stained with blue. The strangest sights that I have ever seen were the days when I was standing next to you. The trains are howling in the distant yard, the tracks are leading to a distant shore. The deck is missing every single card, and the key is turning in a locked up door. The river doesn't flow the way it did, the bridge is leaning like a tired man. The secrets that the heavy cellar hid are scattered in the dirt and trying span. The sky is gray as ash from burnt up wood, the horses have been traded for a song. I would go back home if I only could, but the road is twisted and the way is long. The bells are ringing in the wooden spire, the preacher shouting at the empty pews, the choir singing like a house on fire, waiting for the latest brand of heavy news. The seasons change but nothing ever grows, the well is dry and filled with jagged stones. Everyone is dressed in funeral clothes, to hide the shaking of their hollow bones. The gold has all been buried in the mud, the silver's tarnished by the salty air. The spring is coming with a taste of blood and a tangled mess of water knotted hair. The map is torn and blowing in the gale. The compass needle points to nowhere fast. The ship is heavy with a tattered sail, dragging all the wreckage of the past. The stars are blinking like a dying land. The moon is hiding in a veil of smoke. The blankets in the bed are cold and damp since the day the golden promise finally broke. The mirror shows a stranger in the glass. The wine has turned to vinegar and gold. The years are shadows as they quickly pass, and the silence is the loudest sound of all. The morning pulls the curtains back with iron hands. The stack of letters turning gray upon the stand. The coffee scours the silence of a hollow room, while winter flowers shed their final dusty bloom. I used to keep the shadows tucked beneath the bed, to hide the heavy sentences we never said. But now the air is thinning out across the floor, and I can't find a reason to defend the door. The anchor line is fraying at the salt and bone. A different kind of gravity has made it known that staying is a debt I can no longer pay. The sky is wide and bleeding into shades of clay, letting go like feathers in a gale. The ship is leaving even as the colors pale. I am dropping every stone I used to hold before the grip of summer turns to bitter cold. Unclenching every knuckle from the jagged ledge, walking past the fever at the water's edge. I surrender what was never mine to keep, and wake from secrets that I buried in my sleep. The map is blank where we once traced our frantic lines, a forest grown from all the broken highway signs. I leave the heavy coat of worry on the rail, and watch the vapor trail begin to thin and fail. There is a grace in watching bridges burn to ash, without the fear of seeing every timber crash. I used to think the end was just a jagged cliff, but now it's just a motion fluid, smooth and stiff. The anchor line is fraying at the salt and bone. A different kind of gravity has made it known that staying is a debt I can no longer pay. The sky is wide and bleeding into shades of clay, letting go like feathers in a gale. The ship is leaving even as the colors pale. I am dropping every stone I used to hold before the grip of stomach turns to bitter cold. I'm clenching every knuckle from the jagged ledge, walking past the fever at the water's edge. I surrender what was never mine to keep, and wake from secrets that I bury on my sleeve. It's not a defeat to lay the armor down, to walk away from gems within a heavy crown. The open palm is stronger than the iron cyst. The truth is waiting somewhere underneath the mist. I am not falling, I am finally untied, with nothing left to swallow and nothing left to hide. Letting go like feathers in a gale. The ship is leaving even as the colors there. I am dropping every stone I used to hold before the grip of summer turned to bitter cold. Unclenching every knuckle found a jagged leg. Walking past the fever at the water's edge, I surrender what was never mine to keep, and wait from secrets that I buried in my sleeve. Let it know, like feathers in a gale, the ship is leaving even as the colors gel. I ain't chalking every stone I used to hold before the grip of summer turns to bitter cold. Unclenching every knuckle from the jagged ledge, walking past the fever at the water's edge. I surrender what the living mine to keep, and wait from secrets that I buried in the sea.
The dust has settled on the highway sign, beyond the jagged edge of the county line. A rusted gate swings in the quiet heat, where the shadows and the gravel meet. The prophets left their shadows on the wall, waiting for the heavy rain to fall. No more thunder in the upper room, just the folding of a tired loom. The static on the wire finally died. There is nowhere left for the wind to hide. A heavy stillness in a hollow bone, like a king who walked away from the throne. It is a white flag buried in the mud. It is the slow wind of the fevered blood, a landscape painted in a single shade, the end of every debt that was ever paid. The silence is a steady hand stretching out across the broken land. The bells are hanging by a frayed rope. They gave up on the heavy trade of hope. A golden watch lying in the sand, telling time to an empty hand. The soldiers swapped their jackets for the plow. There is no use for the shouting now. The iron turns to a deep red rust as the heavy boots dissolve to dust. The static on the wire finally died. There is nowhere left for the wind to hide. A heavy stillness in the hollow bone, like a king who walked away from the throne. It is a white flag buried in the mud. It is a slowing of the fevered blood, a landscape painted in a single shade, the end of every debt that was ever paid. The silence is a steady hand stretching out across the broken land. It is a white flag buried in the mud. It is a slowing of the fevered blood, a landscape painted in a single shade, the end of every debt that was ever paid. The silence is a steady hand stretching out across the broken.
dust has settled on the broken fence. The mercury is dropping in the heat of self-defense. I saw a shadow walking on a frozen lake, with a heavy bag of every promise he could break. The wind is shaking the last apple from the limb. The horizon line is looking thin and dim. The prophets are sleeping in the back of a rusted car, counting the distance to a long forgotten star. The sirens have gone weary of their own refrain, drying their clothes in the aftermath of rain. No one is shouting for the king or for the thief. Every heartbeat is finding its own relief. There is a stillness that the noise could never own, a seed of quiet in a field of jagged stone. It is the breathing of a world without a name. We'd end of the hunger and the dying of the flame. It is a heavy coat for a cold and weary mind, leaving the jagged edges of the war behind. The ledger is balanced and the ink is finally dry. The hawks have stopped circling the empty morning sky. A widow is planting her garden by the gate. She is not looking for the turning hand of fate. The iron is cooling in the blacksmith's lonely shed. The ghosts are finally resting in their unmade bed. I met a soldier who forgot his heavy boots. He was digging in the dirt for some bitter winter roots. He said the silence was the loudest thing he heard, more honest than a sermon or a politician's word. The flags are all faded to a simple shade of gray, beneath the steady closing of another honest day. There is a stillness that the noise could never own, a seed of quiet in a field of jagged stone. It is the breathing of a world without a name. We end on the hunger and the dying of the flame. It is a heavy cold for a cold and weary mind, leaving the jagged edges of a war behind. It does not come with a trumpet or a grand parade. It is not bought with the riches that the merchants made. It is the gap between the lightning and the sun, the holy mercy of the calm and solid ground. It is the mercy that we never thought we deserved, the final secret that the universe preserves. There is a stillness that the noise can never own, a seed of quiet in a field of jagged stone. It is the breathing of a world without a name, the end of the hunger and the dying of the flame. It is a heavy cold for a cold and weary mind, leaving the jagged edges of the wall behind. There is a stillness that the noise could never own.
dust has settled on the broken clay. No more frantic searching for a place to stay. The iron bells have lost their heavy tone. A song of stillness finally being sung. The shadows fold their hands across the chest. The wild blood finds its way to silent rest.
I walk the miles where the wire used to bleed, through hollow fields that choked on bitter seed. The ghosts of anger pack their heavy bags, leaving nothing but some faded linen rags.
The horizon stopped its trembling at the edge. A sparrow landed on the window ledge. No flags are waving in the frozen air.
Just a sudden weight of knowing nothing's there.
The dust has settled on the broken clay.
No more frantic searching for a place to stay. The iron bells have lost their heavy tone. A song of stillness finally being sung.
The shadows fold their hands across the chest.
Across the chest,
The wild blood finds its way to silent rest.
the silent rest. The prophets went to sleep beneath the hill. The silver watch decided to stand still.
We burn the maps that led to nowhere fast. The future started looking like the past.
There's a comfort in the absence of a roar, a simple latch upon a heavy door. The water in the basin doesn't move. There is no longer anything to prove. The dust has settled on the broken clay. No more frantic searching for a place to stay. The iron bills have lost their heavy tongue. A song of stillness finally being sung.
The shadows fold their hands across the chest. The wild blood finds its way to silent rest.
The dust has settled on the broken clay. No more frantic searching for a place to stay. The iron doves have lost their heavy tongue. A song of stillness finally being sung. The shadows fold their hands across the chest. The wild blood finds its way to silent rest.
The dust has settled on the broken fence. The silence grows where the shouting used to be. I walk the line of common sense. find a clearing through the debris. The iron gates are wide and cold. The shadows retreat to the edge of the town. Nothing remains to be bought or sold. The heavy curtains are coming down. I saw the white flag in a child's hand, drawing circles in the cooling sand. No more thunder from the distant hills, no more fever in the morning chills. The river flows without a sound, carrying the weight of the years away. The missing pieces have all been found in the quiet light of a shorter day. It is a rest after the long fatigue, the truce that blooms within the leaf, a steady hand on a trembling door, knowing what we don't need anymore. It is a calm that outlasts a storm, a simple coat to keep the spirit warm. No more hollow bells to ring, just a grace that the endings bring. The clock on the wall has lost its tick. The wick burn, but the oil is deep. The pulse is slow and the air is thick with the promises we meant to keep. Let the maps be folded and the ink go dry. There is nothing left to justify. The garden grows in its own design, wild and green on the borderline. The soldiers have gone to their separate beds with a different kind of sky overhead. The table is set with an empty chair, but there is no ghost lingering there. Just the scent of pine and the coming frost and the strange relief of being lost. The noise has faded into the grass. The heavy clouds are starting to pass. The bitter taste is finally gone, leaving us here to witness the dawn. It is the rest after the long fatigue, the truce that looms within the beat. A steady hand on a trembling yawn, knowing what we don't need anymore. It is the calm that outlasts the storm, a simple code to keep the spirit warm. No more hollow bells to ring, just a grace that the endings bring. The dust has settled on the broken fence. The ancient hounds have lost the scent. The map is torn and the ink is pale. There's no one left to tell the tale. The iron gates are swinging wide, with nothing left for us to hide. A crowd is perched on a rusted plow. The wind is quiet in the bow. We traded heavy stones for seas and turned our backs on hollow knees. The river flows without a sound, where once the thunder shook the ground. It is the calm after the spill, the movement of the standing still, a breath that does not seek a lung, a song that stays upon the tongue, the silver light across the floor is all we asked for and much more. The soldier wears a faded coat, a wooden splinter for a boat. He washed the salt from out his eyes, underneath the cloudless skies. The clock has stopped its heavy beat upon the stones of every street. The shadows stretch and then they fade in the hollow of the glade. The hammer rests beside the nail, beyond the reach of every gale. It is the calm after the spill, the movement of the standing still, a breath that does not seek a lung, a song that stays upon the tongue, the silver light across the floor. This all we ask for and much more.
The dust is settled on a broken fence. The heavy iron gates are open wide. No more counting bullets for defense. No more places left for us to hide. The static on the radio has died. The sirens fading into distant hills. A strange composure blooming deep inside, replacing all the fever and the chills. I saw a child playing in the rust, among the skeletons of hollow cars. He didn't look for shadows in the dust, or feel the coming of the evening stars. He didn't bear the memory of scars, or know the names of kings who fell away, beyond the reach of bitterness and bars. He owns the simple silence of the day. It's not a flag that's waving in the wind. It's not a treaty signed in faded ink. It's just the quiet where the noise is sin, a chance to finally stand still and think. The bitter cup is poured into the sink. The heavy boots are left beside the door. We're standing on a different kind of brain, when nobody is keeping up the score. The clock is ticking on the mantel shelf. The tea is getting colder in the glass. A man can finally face his inner self and watch the clouds of summer slowly pass. The dew is settling on the uncut grass. The weary earth is catching up on sleep, no longer made of stone or cold morass, but promises we finally can't cheat.
The valley mist is rising like a breath. The mountain peaks are glowing in the sun. We've untangled life from grip of death. The long and frantic marathon is run. The work of healing has at last begun. Without the heavy hand of constant fear, the battles that we thought had to be won dissolve into the atmosphere so clear. I walk down to the river in the light and watch the water flow into the sea. No longer looking back into the night at everything you thought we had to be. The chains are loose and everyone is free to listen to the humming of the bees beneath the shadow of the willow tree, with nothing but the shaking of the trees. It's not a flag that's waving in the wind. It's not a treaty signed and faded in. It's just a quiet where the noise of sin, each chance to finally dance till the flame. The bitter cup is poured into the sink. The heavy boots are left beside the door. We're standing on a different kind of brink, where nobody is to bend up the score. It's not a flag that's waving in the wind. It's not a treaty signed and fading. It's just a quiet where the noise of sin, a chance to finally stand still and think. The bitter cup is poured into the sea. The heavy boots are left beside the door. I'm standing on a different kind of brink, where nobody is keeping up the score.
The dust has settled on the porch swing frame, where the paint is peeling like a forgotten name. I found a copper penny in a rusted tin, near the cellar door where the light grows thin. The gravel road hasn't moved an inch today, while the clouds keep drifting in their aimless way. A stack of letters tied with kitchen twine, resting in a box beneath the northern pine. I remember how the harvest air would sting when the bells in town used to loudly ring. A heavy coat is hanging by the kitchen chair, waiting for a ghost who is no longer there. Those quiet hours were a kingdom made of gold, before the stories of the world were told. We held the morning in a hollow palm, trading our thunder for a sudden calm. The maps are folded and the ink has dried, leaving all the restless dreams inside. Those quiet hours were a kingdom made of gold, before the stories of the world were told. We held the morning in a hollow palm, trading our thunder for a sudden calm. The maps are folded and the ink has dried, leaving all the restless dreams inside. The radio is humming a static tune underneath the shadow of a paper moon. I see the shadows stretching long and deep,
while the rest of the valley has gone to sleep. The clocks are ticking, but the hands stay still on the frozen crest of the Clover Hill. Those kind hours were a kingdom made of gold. Before the stories of the world were told, beheld the morning in a hollow palm, trading our thunder for a sudden calm. The maps are folded and the ink has dried, leaving all the restless dreams inside. Those quiet hours were a kingdom made of gold. Before the stories of the world were told, we held the morning in a hollow palm, trading our thunder for a sudden calm. The maps are folded and the ink has dried, leaving all the restless dreams inside. No. The dust has settled on the iron gate where we carved our names in '98. The rooster swings that holds a ghost of noon, while shadows stretch beneath the paper moon. The gravel driveway hums a hollow sound of all the secrets buried in the ground. We kept our pockets full of lucky stones and spoken languages we called our own. A cracked transistor on the porch would play the static anthems of a fading day. The map we drew upon the cellar floor led to a world that doesn't breathe no more. The summer hung like honey on the vine before the days were cut into a line. We didn't notice how the ticking hand was shifting all the silver in the sand. Oh, the heavy weight of what we used to know,
The way the clover
look before the mold,
the ink is drying,
on the unread page
the quiet turning,
of a gilded cage. We are the heirs of every fallen leaf,
the slow momentum,
of a holy thief, walking backwards through the open light before the morning folded into night. The kitchen table holds a coffee stain, a little map of all the hidden rain. Your father's coat still smells of cedar wood. We stayed as long as anybody could. The porch light flickers like a dying spark against the vast dimensions of the dark. We traded diamonds for a piece of glass and watched the seasons turn into the grass. The whistle blows across the empty tracks. There is no road that leads a body back. The color fades inside the copper frame until the faces don't possess a name. All a heavy weight of what we used to know,
the way the clover,
look before the mold,
the ink is drying,
on the unread page
the quiet turning,
of a gilded cage. We are the heirs of every fallen leaf,
the slow momentum
of a holy thief walking backwards through the open light before the morning folded into night. What we used to know,
the way the clover,
look before the mold,
the ink is drying,
on the unread page,
the quiet turning
of a gilded cage. We are the heirs of every fallen leaf,
the slow momentum
of a holy thief.
Dust has settled on the porch rim, but the wood is silvered by the frost. I found a box of copper keys to every door we ever locked and lost. The garden gate is leaning sideways now, holding back the weeds of 30 years. We used to wait for the morning mail when the ink was wet upon the page. Now the paper turns to brittle lace, showing all the yellow lines of age. The radio is humming in the hall, playing songs the static tried to kill. Shadows stretch across the kitchen floor, longer than the ones we cast before. And every crack within the ceiling tile is a map of every mile. The heavy light of yesterday is hanging in the air, like a coat that someone left upon a chair. We were climbing up the mountains just to see the rain. Now we're counting all the pennies in the drain. It was a different kind of hunger back when time was cheap, a promise that we didn't have to keep. The golden hours are bleeding into gray, walking through the ghosts of a vanished day. Your name is carved into the apple tree, but the bark has swallowed up the moss. We used to strike a match against the wind just to see the beauty of the sparks. Now the stove is cold and the kettle's dry, and the birds have traded branches for the sound. The clock is ticking but our hands don't move, like a needle stuck inside a groove. And every picture in the heavy frame is looking for a face to blame. The heavy light of yesterday is hanging in the air, like a coat that someone left upon a chair. We were climbing up the mountains just to see the rain. Now we're counting all the pennies in the drain. It was a different kind of hunger back when time was cheap, a promise that we didn't have to keep. Golden hours are bleeding into gray, walking toward the ghosts of a vanished day. Yeah. just to see the wane. Now we're counting all the pennies